Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to game number 2 of the 2025 U18 Women's Championship. As we get set for this really fun game, Brendan and Chris here in the broadcast booth with you here, as we have Manitoba taking on Team Saskatchewan in what should be a fun matchup here today, Chris.
Move over, Bombers and Riders. There's no love lost between these two provinces. This is going to be an exciting one. First game of the tournament for both these teams. Can't wait for this one to get started.
Yeah, again, both of these teams having to travel to Calgary where we are playing our games in what has actually turned into a fairly nice afternoon. I was reading a lot to be expected for sunny, or not sunshine, but a lot of rain. But we will switch things over for
in spirit of reconciliation. We acknowledge that we are playing on the original territories of the people of Treaty 7 region of southern Alberta, which includes the Blackfoot First Nations tribes of Siksika, Piikani, and Kainai, the Stoney Nakoda First Nations tribe of Chiniki, Bearspaw, and Goodstoney, along with the Tsuut'ina First Nation and the Métis Nation of Alberta Region 3. At this time, we'd like to ask you to rise if you are able. Remove your hats and helmets for the playing of our national anthem.
As we get ready for the coin toss between these two teams,
every time they play
our
that song.
earlier game between Team Quebec and National Indigenous, Team Quebec had a commanding victory in that one, but nonetheless, we have an exciting matchup, as we were calling it here in the booth beforehand, the Battle of the Prairies.
Absolutely, and it's funny how we have to come to Calgary for a Saskatchewan versus Manitoba battle, but a lot of these girls are ready for this. They've been preparing for this for a long time, as the captains will shake hands at center field there, and we'll see who gets the ball first and potentially puts the first points on the board.
Yeah, it's always really, really exciting to see these teams go out there and face each other for the first time in either a long time or first time for forever, and just kind of get those jitters out of the way early in this competition. Again, these two teams, first time for the Nationals, and so just got to wonder how some of these first couple of series are going to go, whether it's going to be a couple of bobbled snaps, maybe a couple of offsides, really just try to settle into it and really just get a good idea.
It doesn't matter if it's your third year in this tournament, second year or first year, you're going to be fired up coming out of the gate for this first game. So yeah, expect maybe a couple offsides, a couple jittered plays as these teams start to settle in, and then we'll see some really, really good football.
We're here at Shoaldice Athletic Park here in the valley, just right beside the Bow River here in beautiful Calgary, Alberta. And like you said, here at what is just an absolutely beautiful facility, as the teams head back to their respective units as we get things ready to go.
And it looks like Saskatchewan won the coin toss, and they will defer to the second half, and Winnipeg will be first with the ball. So we'll see Manitoba's offense first and Saskatchewan's defense.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Again, these two teams, no love lost between the provinces, and really just trying to see exactly how both teams operate on their first offensive drive. It's not necessarily how you start, but how you finish, but you can often get a really decent sense of how a team is going to play off of that first drive, because if you start out really, really slow, gotta wonder, what are you going to do? Are you going to be a little bit more desperate going from play to play, from series to series? And really, we saw a lot of physicality in that early game where the line of scrimmage was ultimately the deciding factor. Only 1 or 2 turnovers. Again, in football, the turnover margin is often the indication of who's going to win a game. But going for our opening kickoff, Team Saskatchewan in the dark green in black and Manitoba in the gold in black.
Okay, here we go.
And we are about to get going. Kick is up.
It's on the ground, touch. Oh, fumble.
It is a little bit of an awkward exchange after that one. Team Manitoba really didn't know exactly who was going to go after. It was kind of that weird, awkward bounce that we often see a lot of times in some of the levels that aren't into the professional, where it's you're waiting for the bounce, trying to pick it back up.
Absolutely. Absolutely, and you could tell middle level there, their job is to block. So the ball comes to them, they weren't exactly ready, don't really know what to do, but here comes this Manitoba offense.
Shotgun, handoff going right up the middle, and Manitoba doing a good job at kind of slowing Team Saskatchewan able to do a good job with the ball running up the middle, just trying to find exactly who was running that one. Good play right there.
I believe it was number 20 for Manitoba.
Eden Gates bring that one through the middle.
Good tackle by number 59, Trista Kelly out of Endona, the Spartans, her second year in the tournament. Good pursuit to the ball.
Winsky, she has it. Going around, ends up making the pass, gets it to Omar. Omar tries to get through, but the defense from Saskatchewan comes up clutch, slowing everything down, immediately attacking the ball carrier.
Absolutely. Good pursuit by Rihanna James there. Great tackle. The linebacker out of Rosetown saw the ball. Good wrap-up tackle, and Manitoba will now have to punt.
Yeah, again, you always want to look at the defense side of the ball, really try to dominate on that side, and they came out, only allowed a handful of yards on that possession, ultimately getting this third down. Goes back, punt is up, and it's looking good. This one going all the way back over Rihanna James' head. She's having to run and chase after it. Eventually picks this one back up. She's eventually going to be wrapped down all the way at the 30, maybe the 31. We have a late penalty flag coming down. Maybe a little bit of overzealousness from the Manitoba squad.
What a boot by Manitoba's punter. Easily kicked that 40-plus yards. One of the longest kicks that we've seen in this tournament. This early going of this tournament had to send James back. And usually one of two things happens out of that. Either you outrun your coverage, and it could result in a touchdown going the other way, or your blocking scheme is just totally thrown out the window. And we saw that from Manitoba. And it looks like unnecessary roughness going against Manitoba, and that'll be a 15-yard penalty.
Yeah, not exactly what you want to have, but again, talk about the special teams unit and how much a punter can dictate a game with how far that one ultimately went back. Again, going over the head of James and really just kind of sending that one backwards. But Saskatchewan now up here, and let's see how they're ultimately going to be able to operate on their first possession. Handoff, directed, quarterback running this one through the middle, almost getting to the first down marker. Skeena with an excellent job there. Initially looked like she was going to hand it off, but then just elected to take her herself, almost kind of looking like a wildcat type of play.
The run-pass option, definitely. We'll see that a lot here, as passing's not really. We'll see some passes, but we won't see a lot of long bombs here today. So running is going to be a big dictator. Great job by Skeena there, the third-year quarterback out of Weyburn.
Skeena, that pass, or that one a little bit low, ends up picking that one up just outside of the first down marker. Again, the initial snap was a little bit low, so she had to kind of collect that one, and then elected just to run that one. Again, not afraid to run the ball, so we're going to be third and short here, Chris.
Absolutely. Good pursuit by Manitoba there on the ball. Usually when the fumble happens, you get a wide eye looking for the turnover there. But good job staying in your lanes, making the tackle, and Saskatchewan is going for it on third down.
Skeena. Handful of motion going far side. Skeena goes down under center. Gets it, goes for the QB sneak, and ends up getting the first down and extra yardage. Again, initially going into that shotgun look, motioning over some of her players, going under center, just taking it. That is a great play design.
Absolutely, and we were talking about this before the game. We don't see a whole heck of a lot of under center in this tournament. So, but QB sneak, we see Saskatchewan, the Riders, they use that to their effectiveness a lot there. Skeener's able to pick up a first down, and Saskatchewan is driving right now.
Yeah, Skeena now back in the shotgun, has a running back right to her right. Some motion going to left. Skeena looking to throw the ball. She launches it, ends up finding her teammate, and gets it to Poletsky, and that is a big first down. Again, one of the things we're talking about is the potential wind, as we can see the flags going to our right side up here in the booth, which is where Saskatchewan's trying to throw the ball. Didn't seem to affect her that much.
You see what a good run game will set up, right? You had the play action there, roll out, as we have a injured Manitobian on the field, number 41, Haley Whitesell. The defensive lineman and linebacker of the Falcons Football Club at Fort Alexander will come off. Looks like she's no worse for wear. But once again, good PTO, good pass there from Skeena, and now Saskatchewan's almost in that red zone there. Ball on the 28.
And you know what? It was a really good job by Team Saskatchewan setting that up. 3 quarterback runs, again, trying to use that. Yep. And then on that play, ultimately using Skeener's ability to roll out of the pocket. And then make that throw. Skeena now moving to the right side again, not afraid to show some of her mobility. Ends up running over our opponent, getting so close to that first down marker. Skeena, a mobile quarterback, but also showed off the arm.
You know what sets up a good run? Good blocking, and that was fantastic blocking by the offensive line for Saskatchewan. Also the receiver coming out sealed the block on the outside to allow Skeena to run for close to a first down. I believe it's going to be 2nd and 2 or 2nd and 1.
Looks like it's going to be 2nd and 1, but yeah, that classic phrase, no block, no rock.
Exactly.
You hear so many wide receivers coaches talk about it. Skeena running back to the right. She ends up rolling to her left. Has to make one move. Ends up cutting this one through the middle. Finds a little bit of space. She's going to get the first down, but eventually taken down by Behe.
Skeena looking like Lamar Jackson out here, shedding tackles, trying to go for the pass there to number 81, Kenza Duro. Unopened, good coverage by Manitoba, but Skeena just tucked the ball, said, I'll do it myself, and picks up the first down.
Having a mobile quarterback is always such a dangerous thing for defenses to go up against, especially on this first drive, just because you don't know exactly what's going to happen, especially when we've seen Skeena ultimately roll to her left and throw that ball, but that one looks like a little bit of a wildcat right towards Wicks. Wicks tried to get through, but she is blocked down immediately.
Good job by Daphne Amoritz, defensive lineman out of Winnipeg, recognizing that. A little bit of a direct snap there. I don't know if Skeena meant to go for it, but it was snapped directly to the running back, maybe caught the running back by surprise. And a great tackle there, shoestring tackle, and brings up 2nd down.
Yeah, that one, as we were watching the replay on that one, it almost looked like it was supposed to go to Skeena, as it does on this play. She finds a little bit of a crease and can't quite get down. Maybe a gain of 1, but we are likely in 3rd and long territory, so does Saskatchewan ultimately bring out the field goal unit.
Super impressed so far by the Manitoba's defense ability to wrap up tackles. That was a fantastic tackle by number 31, Kali Rupa. And Skeena, you have seen her move around in the pocket, wraps it up, but here comes Saskatchewan going for it again on 3rd down.
Skeena all alone in the backfield. She rolls right. She has all sorts of space. She's just going to take it. Can she get there? And she's in for her game's opening score. Team Saskatchewan with the QB run. Ella Skeena, touchdown.
What a great block on the outside. I believe that was Madison Judd, and we'll see it on the replay. She absolutely buries her girl right at the goal line, basically sets us up. Number 28 here will roll out, good block, kick out, looking for the pass, and it's like, no, I'm just going to take this person out, seals the block, and that's an easy walk-in score for Saskatchewan.
Sinkota kicks the ball, Goes up, waiting for the official signal from the officials.
I believe that is no good. It was wide left.
So, nonetheless, we will have a 6-0 lead here. Manitoba goes 2-out on their first possession. Team Sask really showing their quarterback's rushing ability. And when you play a lot of man defense, that is an absolute running quarterback's dream, because it's going, okay, I'm moving to the right. I'm still looking to throw the ball. And then all of a sudden, no one's following me. So I'm just going to continue to go right where I want. And Skinner just, like what you said, just walked into the end zone.
Yeah. And when you play that man-on-man defense and you're a defensive back in a chase position after the receiver, you don't know what's coming behind you. And as you turn around, it might be a little too late, and that's what we saw there as Manitoba will pick it up, and a great tackle by 46, saving a touchdown there.
Yeah, Eden Gates able to pick that one up. If she was able to avoid that tackle, she might have
been gone.
Green grass after that one. Again, another situation for Gates where she had to pick that one up off the turf, and a nice wrap-up tackle right there. So Manitoba, 2-out on their opening drive. Let's see how they ultimately respond here after their defense had a long series out there, so they would love to at least get a couple of first downs. Snap, Wildcat almost looked like on the opposite side, trying to gain a few more yards there. Able to get to the 53-yard line on that particular occasion.
Jocelyn Borinski, starting quarterback for Manitoba, once again does the run-pass option, trying to go the right side there, about a 5-yard gain. And it'll be second down. Good wrap-up tackle once again by 46 from Saskatchewan, Maxine Sinkota.
Borinski. She's back. Gets the ball, hands this one off, tries to go in, and an excellent wrap-up tackle behind the line of scrimmage by Dean Wren, just coming up from her defensive back spot, recognizing that play, and then just cutting it off almost immediately.
Wren on a little bit of a blitz there. You'll see she just absolutely blew through her a block of Gates, and she wraps it up. Great open field tackle from Balgoni, and it is now third down with Manitoba going for it.
And another opportunity here for Borinski. She's all alone in the backfield. Hooks deep, tries to get it to her teammate, and that one's intercepted. Team Saskatchewan with an excellent first quarter so far in this one. An excellent opening series on their offense, which leads to an interception here.
Number 46, once again, just all over the stats, making tackles with the interception. That is Maxine Sinkota, but great pressure off the edge by number 21. Quarterback felt the pressure, had to get rid of it, and maybe didn't allow her receiver to get open, and Saskatchewan will take over on the 52.
Snap drawn, looking for the pass, steps up into the pocket, launches this one deep. Can they find the target? And they do! That one continues to go by Ella Wicks with an excellent grab, and she ultimately gets pushed out of bounds. What a play from this Saskatchewan offense that has been firing on all cylinders.
Absolutely. You're going to see on this replay here a little bit of a pump and go from Skinner, a little bit of pump and a go. The corner bid on it, and an excellent back shoulder pass going to where the receiver can only get it. Great catch by Ella Wicks to turn around and catch that one. And Saskatchewan's threatening again.
Skinner. She moves right, has a little bit of a block in front of her. She has a little bit of space, but ultimately gets wrapped up. Going back to that last play, Chris, one of the things that I really liked from Ella Wicks from the running back spot was able to find that crease, almost looking like a prime Matt Forte, able to get into the backfield, bring that down.
Yeah.
Of course, me being the Bears fan, I'm going to bring in some of those guys.
Hey, he won me a fantasy championship, that Matt Forte, so I'll never talk bad about Matt Forte. And absolutely, it's always a great weapon to have out of your backfield when your running back can go out and catch passes and run the ball effectively.
Skinner tosses this one over. This one goes through him. Hero makes the move. Can't quite get by. Almost gets there, but a last-second tackle from Manitoba. But first down nonetheless in this Saskatchewan offense. We've said it before, but they're firing on all cylinders.
A little bit of a trickery here with the reverse, and a great block by number 80 from Saskatchewan to seal the edge, Tyler Petsky. And almost a shoe-saving tackle by number 31. Great tackle in a chase position by Manitoba, but Saskatchewan's in the red zone.
Hero gets it again off of the toss, tries to bring this one through, and she is able to get into the end zone. We have a touchdown.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Number 81, Kenza Duro from Regina, gets the second touchdown of the game for Saskatchewan. And this running game, like we've said it, Saskatchewan has come out absolutely guns blazing. You can't stop this offense so far. Manitoba's need to draw something up quick, or else this is going to get out of hand.
An elite run game allows you to do so many different things on the offensive side of the ball. It allows you to just continue to run the ball. If you can do that, so good. But we have a little bit of a broken play. That one's ultimately going to go into the back of the end zone, but we do have a last-second flag on that play, so we're going to have to monitor that one in case we get a little bit of extra score, or we're going to have to end up redoing this.
It might be a hold on Saskatchewan. So we'll see if they will apply to the kickoff. Both kicking teams are running off, so maybe the offense will come back on. We'll see what the ref says.
Looks like we might be moving this one backwards. But going back to what we were saying about an effective running game, what that does for you. Again, you can just continue to run the ball, but that also allows you to open up deeper shots into the field because, again, you're having to try to slow things down from the run game. You start to stack the box a little bit. That opens up some deeper shots. But what an excellent, excellent run by Ellie Wicks.
Absolutely.
Initially, that snap, not necessarily the best, was able to recover it, decide, you know what, I can't get the kick off, pick this one up, just go run for it.
Is good, and Saskatchewan will take a 13-0 lead with 2:17 left in the first.
Yeah, again, just watching this offense for what they're doing, one play is setting up the next because we've seen so many times where we've seen Skeeter roll to her right or roll to her left where she looks like she's going to pass, but then ultimately runs the ball. But then we've seen that also be set up going where, you know what, I'm going to roll to my left, a little bit off platform throw, but then I'm going to throw the ball, and it's really causing a lot of chaos for this Manitoba defense.
Absolutely, and as a defensive coordinator, you kind of throw up your hands a little bit. You don't really know what to do when you have a dual threat quarterback back there like Skeeter. Where is she going to run? Is she going to pass? She can pass it. We saw that on the last drive with a fantastic pass to Wicks. So we'll see what Manitoba can do, but if they want to get back into this football game, they need to slow Skeeter down. Whether they send pressure, something.
A little bit of a bobble situation here, and Team Sask ultimately is going to be able to jump on top of it, and they recover the ball. The last thing that any offense wants to have is to immediately not even be able to get an opportunity to go out there. Special teams, we've seen a little bit of trouble here throughout this one. This one goes pretty much right in and off of the foot.
Absolutely, of number 1. Ezra Omar just bounced right off her shins, and this is a tired defensive group that's coming out for Manitoba, and this is going to get a little bit dangerous here. You can see it. They got the hands on the hips. They're sucking wind a little bit out there. They needed the offense to go on an extended drive to get them a little bit of rest, but now they find themselves back there with Saskatchewan on their own 52.
Skeeter all alone. Motions her players. She rolls right. She's looking to pass. She gets it to her running back, Wicks, but it goes in and out of the midst. Someone must have had a little bit of popcorn on that last.
Quoting Brucey from Longest Yard, absolutely love it. And I think it was that situation where Wicks realized she had so much open field in front of her, and she turned before she made the catch and just ultimately dropped it. And this is a rare second and long that Saskatchewan is now in. We'll see what they have to dial up.
Skeeter all alone. Motions her receivers. Rolls right out, almost looking like the exact same play. Has a little bit of pressure coming her way. Has to break one tackle, tries to break another right around the sidelines, but ultimately gets slowed up for maybe only a gain of about a yard. Actually, potentially might be a loss here.
Absolutely, and this is the first time that Manitoba has held. And we'll see, they bootlegged a lot to the right here. We'll see if going into the game. They'll bootleg to the left. Of course, easier throw for the quarterback to make, bootleg into her throwing side. And it looks like Saskatchewan is going for it, and why not?
When you've been effective as you have been so far, ends up going for the quarterback punt on that situation, kind of faking everyone out. Ultimately, Manitoba's just going to jump on top of the ball as Behe just says, you know what? No one else is here. The blocking is kind of disoriented here at the moment. Just going to fall on top of it and say, going to live to fight another day.
That is actually a smart play by Saskatchewan. They had 2 receivers lined up on side behind the quarterback before she kicked the ball. So they ran up there hoping to get on top of it, get a new set of downs. Smart play by the Manitoba player there. And finally, Manitoba's offense gets back on the field and hopefully can extend a drive.
Rowinski all alone. She goes back to throw, has to jump up through the neutral zone, ends up running backwards a little bit, having to go through a little bit of traffic. Maybe just got back to the line of scrimmage. That one looked like she was initially going to try to run up the middle as a little bit of a quarterback draw, but Team Saskatchewan blew that one up.
Absolutely, and once again, number 21, Drena Wren out of Balgoni, just recognized a run play on that and just blew that up, actually made her go backwards. So it looks like a loss of a yard for Manitoba, and the hole just gets deeper for this Manitoba offense.
Berwinski motions her receivers, takes the ball, looks to throw, passes up, and just in and out of the hands. That is number 1, Omar, who had a perfect opportunity, had a little bit of pressure on top of her, but nothing that you would say would stop her from making that catch. Is just a tough situation, and sometimes when it rains it pours, and for Manitoba here, at least in the first quarter, is definitely starting to pour a little bit.
Absolutely, and if she would have caught that ball, she would have been gone. There was absolutely no safety help over the top for Saskatchewan, and an unfortunate as that ball touches the turf and they have to punt again.
As this one goes deep, as we saw in that first punt. Not as dangerous, but James able to pick this one up, makes one move. Finding a little bit of space, tries to make another move. She ends up getting away from that one. Can't get away from the third tackle. Good wrap-up tackle by Boldy.
Absolutely, and arm tackles aren't the greatest to try to tackle somebody, especially somebody running as hard as number 3, Raina James, and a good wrap-up tackle for Manitoba. But once again, fantastic field position for Saskatchewan starting here. Off of a great punt, great return by James sets this one up.
As Manitoba defense have forced Team Saskatchewan to go 2-and-out on their last possession. They would love to have it here, but we are going to see an offside coming to Manitoba. Again, that just comes solely with being a little bit of fatigue because you've been out there for pretty much majority of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see what she was trying to do. She was trying to time up the snap count, maybe get a little bit of a jump on the offensive line, and maybe set the edge, because we've seen that Skeena likes to roll out to that right side. So maybe set the edge, cause her to come back inside to the tacklers. And unfortunately, just timed it incorrectly, and Saskatchewan gets a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, going back to what you're saying there, the defensive end, especially when you have a quarterback that is really, really mobile, just trying to set that edge and force them inside to allow them to go right into the arms of your linebacker is key. Skeena rolls right again, makes one move, has her running back in front of her to give her a little bit of help. We have a first down and another designed run from this Saskatchewan offense. And again, for myself, personally, I'm not the world's biggest fan of running quarterbacks often and more often than not, but when it's working, you got to keep it working. But that's it for our first quarter.
Absolutely. Great for opening half for Saskatchewan. I mean, you could not have drawn it up any better, up 14-0. Manitoba, I think, has had maybe 5 yards of offense to Saskatchewan, over 100 easily. And Manitoba needs to do something to start the bleeding in the second half, and hopefully they could turn it around. But right now, Saskatchewan is deep in their zone on the 40, and first down.
Yeah, first down play here. You're really going to need this Manitoba defense to ultimately try to get yourself a stop in this one, because if you can get your offense back out there, and the biggest thing for the offense is to actually gain a handful of yards, because if you can't gain any extra yardage, then all the work that your defense ultimately did isn't going to help.
Exactly. Yeah, and this defense needs a rest. It needs a good sustained drive.
Wicks gets the toss, breaks one tackle, but can't break the other one. Gets right around the line of scrimmage. Might have actually ended up losing a yard on that play. Good job by the Manitoba defense. Again, we're talking about it. Manitoba's defense so far throughout this game has made some plays. It's just the unfortunate nature of they've been out on the field all game.
Absolutely great wrap-up tackle by number 31, Sophia Fagerstrom-Castro out of Winnipeg. Wrapped her up, waited for her mates there. Good, solid tackle on Wicks. And second and long here from Saskatchewan. We'll see if Manitoba can get off the field.
Skeena, Wicks to her side. Finally gets the ball. She immediately rolls to her left. Looks to make a deep pass. Ends up getting it, but just can't connect from Dero.
Wide open on that one, too. Pass was a little low. That would have been a huge play as Skeener's talking to the referee. Maybe she got hit in the hand, maybe a little bit late or something. As we'll see this replay here. Skeener once again rolling out, this time to the left, her other side. And she put great touch on the ball. Maybe the wind affected that a little bit. The ball was fluttering, and unfortunately could not come up with that was Duro, who plays for the Regina Victorias in Regina, her second year in this tournament.
Skeena rolling out to her right. She's looking to make that deep pass. Goes up and over. Just cannot connect with Wicks. Another excellent opportunity there. Again, down here in the valley of Shouldice Field, it's kind of one of those weird things where the wind kind of spirals and does some awkward swirls from here time to time. I know calling a bunch of Colts games for the last few years, that has been something that they've always had to be mindful of. And yeah, we see the wind, which should be in favor for Skeena on that particular pass. Took the ball a little bit from her.
Absolutely, and Wicks was behind coverage once again, and that's a couple of times where Manitoba's kind of lost their woman in coverage, and unfortunately Saskatchewan can't capitalize.
Berlinski throws that one, it's intercepted, and Rayanna James with the interception, but we do have a penalty marker down on the field, so potentially a saving grace on the penalty for Manitoba. But again, we've talked about it a handful of times throughout this game here, Chris, is that if you want to give your defense a chance in this one, you need to get your offense moving the ball. You don't necessarily need to score on this drive, but if you can get 2 or 3 first downs, that gives your team, your defense, that opportunity to breathe.
Absolutely, and a roughing a passer call on Saskatchewan, maybe a little too overzealous with the hit. Of course, the pressure caused that turnover, and you never know, maybe this penalty, this first down, which is the most yards that Manitoba has gained so far in this game, could spark the offense a little bit.
Berlinski has it. She rolls to her right. Has a lot of space. She's almost right there at the first down mark. She might have gotten it. Again, we've seen a lot of quarterback draws to the right so far in this game. And I think we actually have a first down here.
Absolutely. Positive gain. Number 94 just off that right side there and did it all of herself, displaying her speed. And just outran the angle of the defender there. And now Manitoba is cooking a little bit here in the second quarter.
Again, with it only being a 2-possession game here at the moment, this is exactly the kind of stuff that you want to see have happen. Build some of that momentum. And hey, you're now on enemy territory. Berlinski with it. She looks back to pass. All sorts of time. Throws this one into traffic. We might have pass interference. And yes, we do. A Manitoba player jumping up to get the ball and almost taken down in midair.
Absolutely, and you're going to see on this replay here, the Saskatchewan player was just standing there, but unfortunately made contact with the receiver as they were trying to jump in the air, and that will be pass interference against Saskatchewan. This penalty-aided drive will continue for Manitoba.
Sometimes when you've had such a successful first quarter like Saskatchewan has, sometimes you maybe get a little bit overconfident in your abilities. But yeah, Berlinski had nothing but time. And yeah, kind of threw that one into a little bit of dangerous traffic there, but ultimately, sometimes that's what coaches say. Throw it into traffic, you never know what happens.
Exactly.
You get some of those penalties.
You see that in today's football more and more, especially at the end of the game. You need some yards. As a great tackle by Saskatchewan there. You do the deep pass, hoping for that pass interference to gain some yards. And we see that a lot in the CFL and see it a lot in the NFL. And good job by Saskatchewan's defense on that last play.
Omar was the one who tried to rush that ball up the middle, ends up getting taken down for a loss of 2. Let's see what they're going to be able to draw up on this play, because again, you've been able to move the ball fairly successfully so far, but Browinski now back, all alone in the backfield, scanning the field, has to rush up, has all sorts of pressure coming her way. She's trying to find that first down marker, getting oh so mightily close, and she got it.
Great job by the vision of the quarterback. Back to pass, felt pressure in her face, did not panic, and just let her legs do the talking there, and picks up a very important first down for this Manitoba offense.
Yeah, not a designed quarterback run. That was a pass play through and through. Ended up having that pressure coming on top of her, but then eventually just found a little bit of space, used her legs. Now she's under center. Gets the ball, hands this one off, tries to make this one move, trying to move that one through. Default. Didn't quite get too much on that, maybe a couple.
We're in 3-down territory, though, so they're just trying to get it close. That conversion does not go through. At least their second and will be third and manageable, but we'll see what they do on second down here. Good wrap-up tackle once again by Drenna Wren out of Balgoni.
Right now, if you are Manitoba, you are liking the way that your offense is playing here. Browinski eventually gets it, delayed handoff, and Team Saskatchewan all in the backfield for a big loss on that play, bringing that one to the 31-yard line.
Saskatchewan was not fooled by that. They snuffed that out almost immediately. Raina Fatschner out of McNutt in Saskatchewan snuffed that out, and it looks like an injury on the play. The number 3 from Manitoba, Randy Haywood, and she will get attention on the sideline, but we're seeing on this replay just good pursuit from the ball, a lot of red helmets in the vicinity, and a good tackle by the Saskatchewan defense.
Yeah, that play a little bit broken pretty much from the snap, as the snap was a little bit higher than what Browinski would have wanted it to be, because it had to jump up in the air, and whenever a quarterback has to do that, has to force it to go down as opposed to going right into the tan chest area, so you can just immediately, essentially, don't even need to do anything other than just turn your hips and go, here you go.
Yeah.
When you have to jump for it, it slows everything down.
It's added seconds that allows the defense to penetrate.
Browinski, initial handoff fake, throws that one to her tight end, gets the completion, but not enough for first down, so that is a turnover on downs.
And a little bit of a size difference between the tight end and number 3 for Saskatchewan, and she just held on for dear life, and she makes that tackle. Number 46, my apologies, Sinkota, makes the tackle. Good catch, though, by number 64, Addison Turnsky, and this drive from Manitoba will end in no points, but you gave your defense some rest.
That is ultimately the key there. Again, you would have loved to have had points, but nonetheless, moving this one across the right-hand side. Skeena, all sorts of space, makes one move, running up the sideline, and she's going to be said she was out of bounds.
That was so close. Of course, we're playing on a smaller dimension field than the bigger lines here. And that she stepped on that blue line I saw, but she picks up a first down, but that would have been a touchdown if she didn't step out.
A great view on our replay right here as it's just going by, having to make a couple of moves. And
there.
Just right on that last second. I knew from our broadcast vantage point you could see a little bit on the blue line, but it was definitely close. Thank goodness for our replay assist. But Skeena just showing like an MVP level player here today. She rolls to her right, looks to throw, ends up getting this one across the middle and just cannot connect.
Tough one for Duro. She stopped running halfway through her route. If she would have kept running, the pass would have been right into her arms, but she stopped, put her hand up, and we're going to see on this replay here a little bit of a half roll to her left back, and Duro just stopped, and that was a perfectly placed ball. Unfortunately, second down now for Saskatchewan.
And you know what, Skeena having to throw across her body, those are tough asks for any player. You talk to NFL quarterbacks that have to do it, and they say, I typically don't want to do it. But Skeena now been in the backfield, delayed handoff to Wicks. Wicks finds a little bit of space, tries to break through, ends up gaining a couple on that one. So we're going to be third and long.
About 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5.
Yeah, it's about third and 6, so 3rd and medium on that one. But
I mean, Saskatchewan's going to go for it.
yeah, well, we have seen the offense stay out there, and we have seen Skeeter do that quarterback punt play before. So with it being in their own territory, I wouldn't necessarily rule it out, but who knows?
Absolutely, and here's Manitoba recognizing it. 2 receivers off, doing it, and here goes Skeeter.
Skeeter looking like she was going to punt the ball, but elected to just keep it in her mitts and run for the first down. Almost looked like an old Pat McAfee play where he just opened up, where he saw the field open up and just run for it. And a beautiful design call. That was, without a doubt, has to be an option play for the quarterback to either punt or run.
So this is the punt run option now. And, of course, the receivers lined up behind the quarterback, so they were onside, and they were expecting a punt from Skeeter, who just runs for that first down.
Skeeter has this one off to Wicks. She finds the space up the middle, gets it very close to that first down marker. Again, Manitoba was able to get their offense moving a little bit more, giving their defense a little bit of a breather. Now it seems like we do have a player down on the field, number 67. That is Tanner.
Amber Tanner out of North Winnipeg, playing for the Normans. And I think this is just she's very tired on there. You could tell she tried getting up, and they just told her to stay down, catch her breath, as Saskatchewan is now well over 100 yards rushing on this game. And it's just taken a toll on this Manitoba defense right now.
Yeah, it has been an absolute physical battle for Team Saskatchewan. Again, 4:41 still remaining in this half of play. And Team Sask, again, their opening 2 drives, pretty much picture perfect. Ever since then, Manitoba has been able to settle things down a little bit. But this drive so far, Chris, is looking like what we saw from those first 2.
Exactly. The run is absolutely eating up Manitoba right now. And the run punt option, the trick play, extended the drive. And when you have a quarterback that athletic like Skeeter in the backfield, like, you got to be ready for anything.
Skeeter gets it. She rolls out to her left, looks to pass, able to find Wicks for the first down, and much more, and just steps out of bounds. Again, Team Saskatchewan doing an excellent job playing right around the borders.
So now, instead of doing the roll to her right on her throwing side, she's now doing a half roll to her left, and she's just playing both sides of the field right now. Manitoba doesn't know what Skeeter's going to do next, and she is absolutely sending Manitoba's defense in fits. Nice little pass to Wicks there, who outrun the angle, and 8 just barely pushed her out of bounds, or else that would have been a touchdown.
Skeeter all alone in the backfield, motioning her receivers out wide. Actually motioning them in. Duro ends up getting that. Cuts across and gets taken out right alongside the boundaries for a short gain, if any.
Good job staying in your lanes for Manitoba, not overcommitting to the run, staying in your tackle lanes, not allowing Duro to get in a hole. And you could tell on this replay, Duro is looking. She's trying to look for space. And good job by number 83 and 18 for Manitoba, just staying in your lanes, forcing her to the boundary, to the out of bounds, and just making the easy tackle.
Yeah, we do have a Manitoba player down here at the moment. Again, you have to wonder, with the amount of defensive plays this Manitoba defense has been out there for, that you just got to know that fatigue is bound to set in, especially when it's pretty much been 75-25 in terms of offensive possession.
Absolutely, and cramping now probably starting to take effect. You're trying to get as much water as you can into your body, and when you've been on the field, when you're exhausted, when you're in that fatigue, when you hit that turf, you kind of don't want to get up. And I don't blame her. I've definitely had that happen before, where I've been on either the ice or the court where I'm just exhausted and I hit the ice. I'm just going to lay here for a little bit, just catch my breath.
Yeah, and often turf fields are
hard. They can be hard.
That's the best way to ultimately describe that. Is you talk to a lot of professional athletes, they prefer to play on grass. But nonetheless, here at Shouldice Field, have turf.
At least it's not the AstroTurf that way back in the day.
Indeed, but yeah, Wicks off of a little bobble of an exchange from the handoff, and Manitoba able to kind of cover that one off nicely. However, Team Saskatchewan does gain a little bit on that particular play.
A little bit of a misfire here. It went right through the hands of Skeeter, hit Wicks right in the face mask. Luckily, she was able to pick it up as the two Manitoba defenders were in the vicinity, and that would have been a huge turnover for Manitoba. But unfortunately, when things aren't going your way, they aren't going your way.
Skeeter rolling right, looks to make the deep pass, tries to get there, in and out of the hands, a second opportunity, and they just couldn't convert.
That is such a tough pass for number 80 to catch that. Great touch on the ball by Skeeter. Tyler Petsky just unfortunately bounced up, had a second opportunity, and when you get twisted around as a receiver, it's very hard to get your eyes on a ball. Almost made the circus catch once again. Receivers getting behind Manitoba's coverage, but the defense does the job. You bend, you don't break. And now, let's see if Manitoba can get some points before the half, only down 14.
Again, 3:15 still remaining in this one. Can Manitoba get back to their good ways on that last offensive drive? Borwinski tosses that one right. Team Saskatchewan able to jump on that one almost immediately. An excellent looking tackle there.
Maxine Sinkota is having an absolute fantastic game. She is almost in every single play out of her linebacking spot, playing for the Yorkton Lady Gritters out of Yorkton, her first year in the tournament, and she has been a disruptive force on that defense for Saskatchewan.
We do have a player down, so while we have this, let's go through some advertisement reads. The U18 Nationals would like to thank Tourism Calgary for all their support in this year's tournament, including a special surprise following the championship game. We would also like to take this time to acknowledge the government of Alberta for their generous financial contribution for the U18 National Tournament and their continued support to minor football in Alberta. We would like to thank the Meg Adif Sports Foundation for their support in growing women's sports at the grassroots levels, in innovating and developing programs across the province since 2013.
Absolutely. What a great tournament this is. The under 18, like nationals, you get for the rest of your life to say you played for football nationals for your province. This is something that all these young ladies are going to remember for the rest of your lives, and this is awesome. This is a fantastic tournament, beautiful venue. The rain, knock on wood, has stayed away so far after two, I'm going to say, hellacious storms in Calgary for the last couple days, baseball-size hail. I was definitely looking at the forecast coming in today, and they said a chance of rain, and I was like, oh no. But yeah, the rain has stayed away so far. It's partly cloudy, and the wind's blowing, but the sun is out.
You know what? It is what we like to call football-type weather, where, you know what, it's good conditions, not too hot, not too cold, not too crazy windy, and no rain from the sky. I'm not even going to try to go on that one. Words got a little bit away from me on that one, but
all good.
Yeah, it has been really interesting weather here in Calgary the last few days, going back to Friday where it was a lights show.
Yes.
Yep, that
very
was
cool.
Yep, very, very fun to watch. Not fun to drive in.
No. Parts of Calgary, extreme flooding.
Yeah, you would see soccer fields in the north end of the city here in Calgary that were flat soccer fields that ultimately turned into small lakes.
Absolutely.
I saw a video on, I want to say it was TikTok, of a dude in his kayak on what is normally a soccer field, and you know you've had some extreme weather when someone's kayaking on a soccer field.
And absolutely crazy. I've seen people underneath overpasses get flooded, jumping into the overpass for a little bit of a swim after a night in downtown Calgary. And it looks like, unfortunately, the cart is coming out for a Manitoba player. And you hate to see this. Hopefully she is okay. Looks like they're working on her leg. And it looks like they're actually putting it in a brace, which isn't a good sign.
Yeah, anytime you see the cart come out, it is always really, really unfortunate. Unfortunately, we didn't see the number on the player that ultimately went down. We will try to keep you as up to date with it as humanly possible. Might as well go for a few more advertisement reads here. We'd like to give a shout out to Hilberg and Burke and NFL Canada for their support in providing special gifts for all of our tournament award winners. Also, don't forget to check out the NFL's photo booth in the concourse. So if you're here in Calgary or surrounding areas, you might as well come out and take a look at that.
Absolutely. And I got I have a bone to pick with Luke Wilson from TSN. CFL's a good league, okay? Get off of it, all right? It's a good league. It's a passing league. It's an exciting league. So it's not the NFL. It's not as big, but I don't know. I love the CFL. I love it. So love the CFL. You work up here, love it. You're a Canadian. Come on now. And I don't think you'll ever hear that, but come on, Luke Wilson. Come on.
No words. Nailed that one perfectly there, Chris. But yeah, our final sponsor here for at least our first half, we would like to thank Lane Fletcher Weddings and Oculus Private Wealth for their financial support and event management, making this year's tournament shine like never before. So, getting through all the advertisements for at least the first quarter. Again, we're still waiting for injury here at the moment. Unfortunately, you never like to see these at any level, whether it's professional, semi-professional, junior, college, or anything younger.
And you know her parents are in the stands coming all this way. It's just absolutely heartbreaking. My heart goes out to the player, to the parents that are watching her daughter on the field right now, dealing with this pain as she is still down there working on her leg still, and it's just really tough to see.
Well, not only for the family and the people here, but you have to look at some of the teammates out there as well, because it's never easy talking and looking at your teammate getting hurt. I just go back to the situation with DeMar Hamlin a few years ago, where he ultimately got very, very injured on a play, and you just talk about the players and what they go through from a mental standpoint from that, seeing their friend and teammate go down. And
visiting too, like some of these players might know each other, right? So seeing somebody who somebody who you're battling with but going to war with, but showing respect as well. And it's just a tough situation for both teams, especially Manitoba, and it's really tough. And you don't want to say, can this become a rallying point for a team based on an injury? But you know that Manitoba's now going to be playing for this player for the rest of the tournament, because unfortunately it kind of looks like her tournament is done.
Yeah, this is we are not doctors up here in the booth, so we can't speculate, and I will never speculate on injuries. But again, with a level of attention and care that has been down there on the field, it is you can tell it's serious. And obviously everyone immediately, the second that the play was over, was whistling everyone in and trying to get the best level of support, and we just hope for nothing but the best. But so obviously in the world of football, CFL, again, if you were a Calgary fan here in Calgary, obviously you saw them dominate the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Who saw that coming? The Calgary Stampeders. I kind of had them picked to finish kind of the bottom. As our timekeeper here put up her hand, she saw it coming, absolutely. And Vernon Adams Jr., front runner right now for the most valuable player in the CFL, and the Alfred, the receiver, rookie of the year so far. And it's just really exciting, and it's nice to see the city kind of get behind the Stampeders. And I've seen the support that the city have for the Stampeders when they're good, and it's just good for the city. It's good for everywhere. And who saw them absolutely going into Winnipeg, going into Regina last week, and blowing two of the top teams in the West out of the water, and they sit alone, first place in the CFL right now.
And speaking of the Calgary Stampeders, all of the teams here are going to the Calgary Stampeders game on Thursday. So if you are in the Calgary area and you're giving this a good old watch, go over, and you're going to the game on Thursday, go give a big shout out and big level of appreciation to these young athletes out there as well. But big win for the Calgary Stampeders. Again, if you're an NFL fan like myself, training camps for a bunch of teams
right around the corner.
It is starting right in effect, and if you're a college football fanatic like myself, you know that is coming up so mightily close, and I'm frothing at the mouth for it. So
we're kind of in that lull right now where the only thing going on is baseball and CFL football, but now we're starting to pick back up as they are finally lifting her up onto the cart. Still can't see a number for Manitoba, but a good, healthy round of applause from a great crowd here this afternoon between these two great provinces.
Yeah, again, both teams ended up traveling, and you always love to see that. Saskatchewan always brings crowds wherever they go for traveling and sort of stuff. And, it's good to see Manitoba also bring out the halfway decent crowd as well. And, again, if you are in the Calgary area, please come down to Shouldice Field for the rest of today because we have one more game. We do have a handful of games on Wednesday.
Yep.
And then for the finals, we will have games all day next Saturday. So if you're in the Calgary area or you want to make a little bit of a road trip, highly recommend coming out and checking out this game, and it's very much appreciated from all the athletes to the volunteers to us up here in the broadcast booth, because I know whenever we have big stands and things get rowdy here, it is a lot of fun.
It's so much fun getting into it with the crowd. And let's be honest, Saskatchewan and Manitoba, they got some pretty rowdy fans, and so far they've been treated to a pretty good football game. Saskatchewan looked to take control, looked like they were going to run away from it, and so far Manitoba's held firm, only down by 14 points as they are slowly taking, and it looks like it's the ankle of the player from Manitoba that is currently wrapped.
Yeah, still unfortunately trying to identify a number in this situation just because, again, we're not going to show a replay on this one again. Just trying to make sure that everything is situated and sorted. But now after what is essentially an extended break for both of these two teams, it's essentially going to be halftime. I wonder if they might just end up cutting halftime and almost using this as that. Because, again, we do have another game following this one, so there is time that needs to kind of be kept and met, but that is decisions that are going to be made much later. 2:59 still remaining in the first half of this game.
Kind of in the 3-minute warning now as we look to the south at some clouds that don't look, north, sorry, that don't look too nice. I don't know my directions, I'm sorry.
When you're in a broadcast booth, directions are kind of meaningless. You just kind of go left and right from our vantage point.
Exactly.
But yeah, Manitoba going back out there. Second and long situation here for them. Again, losing one of their teammates, having to play heavy hard. Nowinski takes the ball, runs this one across, ends up getting taken down, maybe a yard loss. Saskatchewan coming up clutch on that play.
Don't want to say that was a little bit late of a tackle, but I'm going to say that was a little bit late of a tackle. And unfortunately, the refs keep their feathers inside of their pockets, and that will bring up third down after a loss on the play.
Yeah, loss of 2 on that particular play. So Manitoba, well, if we've been talking about their defense getting a break, not necessarily the break that they would have liked to have had in that sort of situation, but let's see the punt here.
And she's been booming some punts, but it's into the wind, so we'll see here.
Caught by James. She has a little bit of space. We saw a punt return in the game a little bit earlier, but what a great wrapped up tackle from Boley.
And that is the punter making that hit. Kira Boley, who plays for the North Winnipeg Normans, out of St. Milo in Manitoba. Great tackle there. The wind kind of pushed that punt back, and Saskatchewan's going to start with really good field position on the 33 in Manitoba.
Yeah, again, some of these last couple of drives for Saskatchewan haven't necessarily gone their way. Manitoba's defense has really started to step up their play, but let's see what the quarterback, Skeena, is able to do, who's been so active. Skeena ends up dropping the ball. This one's on the ground. Skeena running this one forward. Ends up breaking a tackle. Has all sorts of space. Can she find another one? Breaks through and just can't get that last broken tackle, but an excellent gain on a broken play.
Absolutely, and that actually hit her running back, Wicks, coming out of the backfield. Hit Wicks, who was running up to block, and great job by Skeena. And once again, you kind of get, as a defensive player, you see the ball on the ground, your eyes kind of get wide a little bit. You start thinking about a turnover and kind of outrun your lanes a little bit, and that's what happened. Skeena took it and picked up a huge first down, and now they're in the red zone.
Skeena gets it. Looks like she was going to hand it off to Wicks, but ends up taking it herself. Finds a little bit of space, but ends up getting wrapped up immediately right around the 10-yard line. And we're going to see a late flag on the play.
Great wrap-up tackle by number 31, Sophia Fagerstrom-Castro. Ran through the block of Wicks and wrapped up her tackle, but maybe a little bit overzealous, so we'll see what the flag is. It looks like the ref is saying unnecessary roughness going towards Manitoba.
Automatic first down on the play, so this is going to give Team Saskatchewan excellent field position here. Almost looks like it's going to be right at the 1 yard line, so we're going to be first and goal.
Oh, landed on her. That was the big thing. Number 8 for Manitoba, Sophie Zielinski, came over and landed on the quarterback, and that was the result of the penalty, and now they have the ball on the 1.
Skeeter has it, takes it up for the quarterback draw, and she's just going to walk into the back of the end zone untouched. Easy play for her, and what is almost looking like the Saskatchewan offense that we saw in the first few drives.
Absolutely. Skeeter doing it all herself. You might as well put a stamp on this one, call it the Skeeter drive, because she did it all entirely herself. And this, I got to say, goal line defense in six-woman football is so tough. There's so much room out there, and you make one block, and it just opens up a hole. That's what we saw there, and Saskatchewan will take a 21 point lead. Oh, no. It's missed, so it's 20-0.
An excellent opportunity there for Saskatchewan to try to take a full 3-point possession. I think we might actually have this one because we do see a little bit of laundry down there on the field. Kind of came out of nowhere. So we will likely be doing this one all over again. 1:58. Brendan and Chris here in the broadcast booth with you for this game between Team Manitoba and Team Saskatchewan for the 2025 U18 Women's National.
Absolutely.
And what so far has been a fun day of football. Again, football junkie like myself, never pass up an opportunity to watch some good ball.
Absolutely not. Of course, earlier today we had Quebec and the Indigenous national team. And it looked like a offside on Manitoba, so Saskatchewan's going to get the opportunity to do it again. Number 46 for Saskatchewan, who's their linebacker,
ends up sneaking that one in. Fortunately, almost looked a little bit like a double doink on that occasion. And as a Bears fan, anytime you see a field goal or a kick hit an upright, you start to see some of those flashbacks, but that one ultimately worked out in favor of it. And
I forgot about that double doink. Oh my! You remember where you were when that happened?
I don't want to remember where I was.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. My goodness, I was with a Bears fan, and I've never seen a grown man cry in anger harder in my life.
Well, I can tell you that was the exact same situation for myself, but nonetheless, does look like from one of the players that ultimately went down, a stretcher is being brought out. I'm not sure if that's for an injury nonetheless, but we'll try to keep you as up to date as possible on the exact situation that happened there. But Team Saskatchewan kicking it off to Manitoba. Manitoba not necessarily in desperation time, but we're starting to get very, very close to that as we're 22-0 here at the moment. That is a booming kick. Allows Kovic pick this one up. That one actually might have ended up going out of bounds.
Is that a penalty in six-man football? Kicking a kickoff out of bounds?
I'm not seeing a flag or a referee wave their flag, so I don't know.
It's a good question because it would be great field position for Manitoba if it was a kickoff out of bounds, but it looks like it's not a thing. Maybe they touched it before it went out of bounds.
Yeah.
Don't know what is really happening here. Coach is trying to get a dispute. As we see the replay, ball is rolling. That's out of bounds before she touched it.
Alrighty, so Team Manitoba with 1:57 still remaining in this first half of play. If you can go out there and get a bit of points here as this one handed off, going up the far right side, able to gain a handful on that one. Good looking play to start this drive.
Yeah, absolutely. And Obviously not scared to run the ball with 2 minutes left, kind of in that 2-minute drill, so they got to pick up tempo a little bit here. But that's a good opening drive, and probably they're in 3-down territory. They need something before the half because you can't go down pointsless going into half, especially against this Saskatchewan team that play-by-play is showing to be exceptionally strong in this tournament.
2nd and 4. Bowinski has it. She's going to motion and run left. Finding a little bit of space. Can't quite get down to the first down marker. It's looking like it's going to be a 3rd and 1. But Team Saskatchewan's defense is covering up nicely.
Good job by number 15, Morgan Hayes, defensive back out of Bienfait in Saskatchewan, outside of Estevan. Good pursuit to the ball. Good wrap-up tackle there. And it is going to be 3rd down for Manitoba, I believe.
3rd. Looks closer to inches as opposed to a full yard. Almost the length of a football here at the moment, but the punting unit is out. But then again, we've seen some trickery. This one goes up. Looks like it's a good punt. And that one a little bit over James, and she's able to collect it off the bounce, makes and avoids one tackle. Tries to go through another one. She ends up breaking that one and eventually brought down right around the 42-yard line.
Good job by James to corral that punt. Kind of is always tricky off of a bounce when the ball is on the ground there. And she knocks it down and makes a great move to get around that initial tacker. Breaks through another one, and she picks up 10 when potentially it could have been a loss or a loss of possession.
Another golden opportunity for Saskatchewan's offense to go out there. And if you really want to put the stamp on this game, again, you're not going to be able to end the game here on this drive, but you can really kind of put it into unmanageable territory. But moving this one around, a nice easy toss play. Wick's able to catch this one, makes a good move right around that first down marker, and she gets it. An excellent job by Skeeter, immediately facing some pressure and just kind of flicks it out to her running back. Ultimately gets that first down.
I believe that was Madison Judd with her first catch, number 28 out of Saskatchewan. Kind of looks similar to Skeeter, same helmet, same like that. And she is the defensive lineman out of Moosomin first time. Good job breaking the tackle, but once again, great wrap-up tackle by number 31, Sophia Figueroa-Castro.
Skeeter runs that one up the middle after another quarterback draw. Again, when you have an athletic, mobile quarterback like that, again, you're going to utilize it.
And you're seeing it more and more in today's game. Dual threat quarterbacks that aren't necessarily just pocket passers that are able to escape pressure. You see it in Calgary with big play VA for the Stampeders. He's a dual threat quarterback. Is he going to run? Is he going to pass? And we're seeing that with Skeeter today.
Skeeter with it. She rolls right, tosses that one to her running back, and immediately taken down right around the line of scrimmage. This is going to be a 3rd and medium. So what does Saskatchewan do here?
Good question. 37 seconds left. Your offense has been running a little bit. Kicking isn't your strong suit. We kind of seen that on a couple missed PATs so far. So I think you go for it. You're deep in Winnipeg's territory already. If you don't make it, it's essentially a punt. So
Skeeter with it. Rolls out right, has to go through a little bit of traffic, and she is wrapped up almost immediately behind the line of scrimmage for a loss. Manitoba gets the turnover on downs.
Absolutely. 20 seconds left. Pretty much a punt. We'll see what Manitoba can do with 20 seconds, but they're going to go a long, long way in a short amount of time.
Now, in all of my Madden head coaching days,
Yeah.
I am the type of person that says, you take the deep shot at every possible opportunity, especially in these sort of moments. Don't try to run it out. That's just my sort of situation, but let's see what Manitoba elects to do here on this likely last drive of this first half.
I also don't punt in Madden either. 4th down doesn't matter. 4th and 14, I'm going for it.
I like the strategy. Berlinski, all alone. She's looking to take that shot deep. Tries to find her teammate, but just can't quite get it. A hand fight for the ball. Her intended target, Richard DuPont, just couldn't quite connect on the pass.
That's a tough play there. It could have went either way for pass interference. Both players were fighting the ball. Did Saskatchewan grab a hold a little bit? Let's see. It looked like they were both going for the ball. Maybe a good call by no call by the referees.
What I meant to say, number 20, Eden Gates. I read Team Saskatchewan's roster as opposed to Manitoba, but moving in, Berwinski throws this one deep, tries to make the pass, and gets it to Eden Gates. An excellent pitch and catch for our longest pass of today. 9 seconds still remaining. Again, all you need is that long pass to find a little bit of a crease and just go the length of the field. Eden Gates, clearly a talented receiver.
Good catch by Gates. Sliding down, sacrificing her body, getting down there. Just a really great catch there, and extends the drive. And now timeout on the field. Probably Manitoba taking a timeout. 9 seconds left to see what we can do. A little trickery maybe to find the end zone.
You know what, I will say, that was a beautiful spiral
That
pass.
was very nice.
By Berwinski. Again, you often look at this sort of level and you go, sometimes you see a few more wobbly sort of passes,
Absolutely.
but that was a perfect spiral.
Into
and
the
that
wind.
allowed exactly that's another great point.
Yep.
Into the wind as well, which makes it just that much harder. But a great pitch and catch nonetheless, and Manitoba getting some chunk yardage here. Berwinski all alone in her backfield. She's done a phenomenal job at moving the ball around when she's been out there. Hasn't had to face too much pressure. Going to be a two-man rush. Looking to launch it. Just up and over and almost intercepted by number 5, Farkas.
It was a little bit of a wheel route on the outside. She was looking for Gates all day, and Gates kind of did a little switcheroo with number 1 Omar for Manitoba. And you could see it on the replay, a little bit of a wheel route, but unfortunately stared her down a little bit. Defenders moved over and just overthrew it. A lot of green in the vicinity, and I'm not talking about the field.
Berwinski all alone in the backfield. Two-man rush. Tries to send this one down, and that one almost got to Gates, but it almost went the other way. And that is going to do it for our first half of play, where Team Saskatchewan currently leads by a score of 22-0 over Team Manitoba. Chris, so far, this has been a fun, competitive battle, but one that Team Saskatchewan has definitely had the edge in.
Absolutely. Manitoba was looking like they were going to get ran out of the building a little bit after those first two offensive drives. They held firm, but now they're going into halftime here down 22 points. Offensively, you haven't clicked that much. Passing, you're keying in on Gates. You got to start using a little bit more of the offensive weapons that Manitoba has. And Saskatchewan, you go as Skeeter goes. Run the ball with Skeeter. Let her work her magic like she's been doing all half, and good things will happen. Good half for Saskatchewan. A little bit of tinkering for Manitoba.
We'll be back here in about 10 minutes' time for our second half of action. Brendan and Chris here in the booth. We'll see you here shortly for third quarter.
Football fans, here are your stats from the first half of play for Team Saskatchewan and Team Manitoba. First down, Saskatchewan 15, Manitoba 4. Yards rushing, Saskatchewan 128, Manitoba 35. Yards passing, 106 for Saskatchewan, 27 for Manitoba. Total offense, including losses, 232 Saskatchewan, 62 Manitoba. Passing completions, 9 out of 14 for Saskatchewan, 4 out of 10 for Manitoba. Penalties, Team Saskatchewan 2 for 25 yards, Manitoba 4 for 33. Once again, we'd like to thank our amazing sponsors, Tourism Calgary and the Government of Alberta, for their support in this year's U18 Women's Championship. At this time, we'd like to recognize the hard work and contributions of all the volunteers here at Shoaldice, and most importantly, our tournament committee, as well as the volunteers from all the provinces that are participating, providing a fantastic opportunity to all the athletes playing here in this 2025 U18 Women's Championship. We'd also like to thank some of our football sponsors: Football Canada, Football Alberta, the Calgary Band and Football Association, the Southern Alberta Female Football League, the Calgary Stampeders, and NFL Canada.
Waves, Captain!
Do some stuff. Good girl, sweetie. You're like the bestest.
And welcome back, everybody, as we get set for second quarter or second half of action between Team Saskatchewan and Team Manitoba. Brendan and Chris here in the broadcast booth, as this was an interesting first half of the game so far. Again, Team Saskatchewan definitely playing a little bit more on the stronger side of things, but Manitoba has shown out that they can make a handful of plays both on the offense and defensive side of the ball.
Absolutely, and you take that take those confidence plays into the dressing room and say, look, guys, this has worked. Let's focus on this going into the second half. Hey, our tackling has been fantastic. Let's keep wrapping them up. Let's keep forcing Ella Skeeter to the boundary. Try to limit her time and space out there, because let's be honest, so far it has been the Ella Skeeter show, quarterback out of Weyburn, her third year in this tournament. And Manitoba has done a lot of good things. Basically limited Saskatchewan's offense that entire second quarter until the last drive of the game. So let's see if this defense could turn it around. They're going to be punting the ball to Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan's going to receive it. And let's see if Manitoba could turn this thing around and make this thing a game.
22-0 here to start the second half of this game. But yeah, going back to what you're saying, Skeeter, she is the driving force of that offense for Saskatchewan. And if Manitoba can find a way to slow her down, or basically just stop what she's capable of doing, they are still in this game, because they have been able to find ways to get that Saskatchewan offense to slow down. But again, that Saskatchewan offense going to be receiving the ball here first. So this is a great opportunity to try to get them to go 2-0. If you can have that, get the ball back, go try to get a quick score, we can have ourselves a football game.
Absolutely. And Manitoba, if you want to get back, you're going to get back in this game on the legs of Borinski. She has had a couple of great runs, the quarterback for Team Manitoba, and also Eden Gates. Eden Gates is becoming more and more of a threat out there. We've seen it in the passing game at the end of the quarter. Made a spectacular catch, but you need to start mixing in Azra Omar. You need to start getting her the ball, because Saskatchewan is going to key in on Eden Gates, because she is a weapon out there for Manitoba. So we got to start distributing the ball if we're Manitoba.
Once again, we'd like to thank our amazing sponsors, Tourism Calgary and the Government of Alberta, for their support in this year's U18 Women's Championship. As we get ready to go, it looks like someone maybe forgot the tee going out there for the kickoff, but now we are ready. Officials are ready. They blow this one in. Ball is up. Going right around is... that is number 81, Duro. Ends up bringing that one right close to the 50-yard line.
81 reversing her field. Kenza Duro
some good field position.
A little bit of a shorter kick, and we've seen Manitoba's punter slash kicker absolutely boom the ball so far. The wind is now starting to swirl a little bit, as it looks like we have a little something blowing in here, which, knock on wood, apparently it did not work, but now Saskatchewan will go back to work on offense, and their star quarterback, Skeeter.
Ella Skeeter back there, has Wicks alongside of her. Wide receiver motioning in, hands that one off to Wicks, goes right up the middle, gains about 5 or 6 on the play, but we do have a late flag
after the run.
Potentially maybe a face mask at the end of that one.
Maybe, and great run by Skeeter,
Wicks,
lined
26.
up about 5 yards back, hit the hole, absolutely running, but she kind of ran into her tackler a little bit there. She had a little bit of room on either side. Good wrap-up tackle by Manitoba. We've been saying this all game. They're a good tackling team, and we'll see what the call is here, as the refs are, looks like they're going to pick it up.
There's no infraction on the play. Second down.
So no penalty on the play. Second and going to be about 5.
5, yep.
Second 5. Skeeter. Wicks to her side. Skeeter gets it, hands it off to Wicks. Wicks goes to the near side, cuts one through, able to get to that first down marker. A good job at finding a little bit of space.
Again,
didn't like where it was, so ended up cutting out just a little bit more.
First down and more near the 50-yard line.
Extra gear to get that first down.
Somebody who has not gotten enough good graces so far in this game is number 60 for Saskatchewan, Haley Norquist, center for the Regina Riot. You see it on the replay how she kicks out and creates a seal block for Wicks to get to that first down marker, and that's a long way to run for a center. Great job by Norquist.
Norquist also a third-year player as well. Skeena all alone. She's rolling out to her right, ends up throwing it and trying to get it to number 16, Winters, her tight end, but just a little bit behind her. Haven't seen Winters be utilized as much in this game so far, but was rolling out. Initially had the block, and Skeena goes up and says, hey, that's my bad.
Absolutely. A little bit of a ill-advised throw from Skeena. Wasn't clean coming out of her hand. You could definitely see she wanted to go to number 1, Ava Blaskovich, who was running the streak there, as Skeena will take the ball.
She runs this one right up the middle off another quarterback draw and gets it very close to the first down marker. Might be a yard short on second and long.
The hole that this offensive line, it's only 6-woman football here, but the hole that the Saskatchewan offensive line, anchored by Norquist, is opening up for Skeena and Wicks down the middle is absolutely amazing to watch because they have all day to run. We'll see if Winnipeg close up that hole.
And one of the plays that we've termed the run pass or the run punt option, it is in effect here with Skeena with her abilities. Eventually, ball is snapped. She's rolling left, has an open hole, and continues to go. Able to stay in bounds, but she's going to be raced down, and actually one of the officials blows it dead right at the end.
Perfectly.
That is the second time today in this game that Skeena has been able to run right along the sideline and come oh so mightily close. And I would love to see a replay on that one just to see if she did actually end up touching out of bounds, because that one was pretty close right there.
Absolutely, and look at Ellie Wicks here. Absolutely blows up her woman there. Great block from Ellie Wicks, and right now down on the field is that player, Yoe Tran from North Winnipeg, and she is down after taking that heavy hit from Ellie Wicks. And the blocking of Saskatchewan, you can't have a good run game without good blocking, and Saskatchewan's definitely winning the battle of the trenches so far.
No block, no rock is the golden phrase you hear so many coaches. That's typically in reference to wide receivers getting the block, but just watching that play, I'm not sure. Skeena ended up touching out of bounds there, but officials have a much better look than we do here in the broadcast booth. Skeena all alone, 1st and 10. Gives it over to Wicks. Wicks cuts this one in, has to try to avoid a tackle, ends up getting wrapped around right along the line of scrimmage.
Handoff to Ellie Wicks, brought down quickly by Sophia
Manitoba.
Absolutely, and once again, great tackling by Manitoba. And Wicks kind of ran into that 60. Once again, Norquist kicked out, was there for the block, but the extra move by Wicks allowed the linebacker for Manitoba to get around the block of Norquist. If she would have kept on going to the sideline, it would have been an even bigger gain.
It's one of those, which side do you ultimately end up going? But Skeena and Wicks in the backfield, out of the shotgun. Skeena gets it off of that little bit of a low snap, but a great block by Wicks. Skeener's going, and she scores her 3rd touchdown of the game.
That is all Ellie Wicks there. I believe Pierre McGuire called that a double D on in the World Junior 2004 World Juniors, and Ellie Wicks took 2 Manitoba players out of there, opening that hole for Skeena, and great job blocking. And like you said, no block, no rock. And here we are on the replay once again. Wicks just pushes her block into the other block, and Skeena walks in for an easy touchdown.
Yeah, that is a perfect display of, you know what, I'm going to use my man and force them into another one. So I'm just allowing my quarterback or my runner in this opportunity to go out there. As this one, a little bit, it goes into the back of the end zone.
And as Wicks once again,
Wicks is
2 points
for the conversion.
We do have a penalty
there's a holding call.
Penalty marker on the field, so that one's going to be picked up.
Looks like it's holding on Saskatchewan. So we will see what happens here. See if they'll just apply it to kickoff, or because it looks like Saskatchewan's offense will stay on the field as The referee, number 33, is conferring with the coaches.
Number 80 on the open, and your penalty would be applied on the kickoff.
Applied on the kickoff.
So a second opportunity here for Team Saskatchewan to go for the kick, as we saw that one offside.
Number
by
80 on
Manitoba.
no, it was number 80 holding, which I did not see on that replay, but that's why we are up here, not down there.
Skinner with it, tosses this one, tries to get it to her receiver, just cannot connect on that play as she was looking for Omar or
Incomplete
Blaskovic.
pass in the end zone. It'll
Absolutely.
remain
And once
28
again,
for Saskatchewan.
that's Manitoba,
Thank you
the
to some
passing
of our
game,
amazing
besides
sponsors,
for that
Hilberg and
big
Burke,
throw in the first
Oculus
quarter
Private
to
Wealth,
Witt,
Lynn Fletcher
the
Weddings,
passing game
Sleek
hasn't really
Signs,
worked out
Tourism
for Team
Calgary,
Saskatchewan.
the
They are
City of
getting
Calgary,
behind.
the Make a
And
Diff Sports
maybe
Foundation,
Skinner,
and
that
the
one
provincial
once
government.
again, wide open, just couldn't get it to her man, or to her woman. Apologies there. And missed opportunity for Saskatchewan, but they are up still 28-0.
And we are kind of in that territory of where if Team Saskatchewan ultimately does get another score in this one, and it brings us to 35 deficit for Manitoba, we will go into runtime. Time will only stop on, I believe, penalties and scores. As this one goes back, and it's going to be collected by Omar. Try to move, ends up getting it to the 49, potentially the 50-yard line.
Good coverage
About
by
half a dozen
Saskatchewan.
on the
That's
kickoff
just a
return for
textbook
Team
staying in your
Manitoba.
lane. Number 21 on the
the
outside
gold
set the
jerseys
edge,
going
didn't
left to right.
overcommit, and forced Omar back in. As you could see, Omar saw 21 there, forced her back into the tacklers. Good coverage by Saskatchewan.
Browinski in the backfield. Actually, looks like we might have a new quarterback in here at the time. Maybe a running back draw, wildcat plays. That one snapped directly. Tursky, one of the O-linemen
Straight
of the
ahead for Addison
Manitoba
Tursky,
Fearless,
64.
ends up taking that one directly
Team
and just tries to
tackle by
pound
the
that one up
defense of
the middle,
Saskatchewan.
but Saskatchewan comes up clutch there.
Kind of like a Jerome Bettis of the Pittsburgh Steelers there. Just take your biggest person and just try to run through, kind of like the fridge for the Bears back in the day, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yeah, Fridge.
The fridge there, and good job for Saskatchewan. You know you're going to get hit by a bigger player. Good job for Saskatchewan just staying in that box and not getting ran over there. And it's a long second down.
Winsky gets a running back beside her. Gets that little bit of extra support. Throws that one to Tursky. Makes the
Completed
catch,
pass to
but not
Tursky,
able to
but
go
she was
anywhere
brought down
after
immediately
that
by
one.
Maxine
A
Sinkota.
very stout defensive
46
play.
anticipated
Again,
very
you're
well.
Manitoba right now, you're kind of always in that third down
and
territory.
7.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll see what happens if they're going to punt the ball or not. Once again, tackling machine, Maxine Sinkota out of Yorkton. Just an absolute defensive demon in the middle of that defense with the great tackle. And unfortunately, number 64 for Manitoba, Addison Tursky, is now down on the field, and she's walking off under her own power, which is always great to see.
At this time, we'd like to recognize the hard work and contributions of all the volunteers here at Shoaldice Athletic Park, and most importantly, our tournament committee, as well as all the volunteers from all the provinces that are participating, providing a fantastic opportunity for all the athletes playing in the 2025 U18 Women's Championship.
Shout out to all the volunteers. It's not possible without you. So thank you so much for giving up your time on your Sunday and Wednesday and Saturday, as that's a booming kick.
Right up and over the head of James. She's still eventually going to be able to pick this one up. We do have a penalty marker down on the field, so we'll have to wait for that one. James not able
Raina James
to break
limited in her
through the
punt return, but
initial
there's a flag
bit
down
of
far end. Terrific punt.
congestion on that particular play, but we do have a penalty, so we'll see what the officials call.
If I'm going to guess, and I'm not a
Kira
betting man, I'm
Bowley
not a
with a
great
terrific
betting man, I'm going to guess no yards.
I would have to agree with you on that one, because in Canadian football, you have to give at least a courtesy 5 yards for the returner to at least pick the ball up and send that one out.
Basically in lieu of the fair catch of the NFL.
Yes, yeah.
just to protect the returner.
No
They're
yards
looking up.
against
They
the
don't want to get
defense.
ran over by anybody. And
33
now
is the start
Saskatchewan will
point.
take over on their own 32. Deepest start for Saskatchewan.
Skeeter, all alone, motions her receivers inward, or tosses that one to Dewar. But she finds a little bit of space trying to get that one, ultimately able to settle that one down. Going back to
Kinza
that
Duro on
rule
the
of trying to
sweep
keep everyone
right.
safe.
Just
One of the
kept
plays that
pushing
I always think back to when you think about returners
until she gained
is
8 yards.
Troy Polamalu
Yep.
just basically running by and almost launching himself off of his own feet, going vertical, tackling, so that you definitely want to keep everyone safe. And whenever we see that kind of rule, I always think of that play.
Yeah, we will never see a safety like Troy Polamalu again. He was amazing.
Skeeter hands that one off.
And number 6,
ultimately able
Alex
to get
Demalenta
first down on that
has
play.
the first down for Team
First
Saskatchewan.
time calling her name. First handoff to Alex Demilata. Plays running back for the Regina Victorias. First year in the tournament. Picks up the first down.
Again, wanting to try to have a little bit more of a balanced offense. Still about just under 6 minutes remaining here in this third quarter. But again, when you have the lead like Saskatchewan does, you don't have to put your quarterback at risk with all these quarterback draws. So going in, moving over, Owinski elects to run the ball. Ultimately gets taken down for the sack. The ball is out.
It'll
but
be
that
a
one
sack
came
for the
out
Manitoba
after
defense.
she was down. A great
Led
defensive
by
play
number
from
83,
Manitoba, slowing
Daphne
down Skeeter.
Amarowitz.
And that is just one of those half rolls where you roll over there and there's absolutely nobody there. All of her receivers are on the right side of the line of scrimmage. And I don't know, I think that ball might have popped out before she was down. But the refs ultimately ruled her down, and still Saskatchewan's ball.
Ella Skeeter. All alone, motions her back to come beside her. Second and short, she rolls right, looking to pass, trying to get it to Dewar, and that one intercepted, are almost
Terrific
in and out of the
knockdown.
hands.
Elena
Coming mightily
Blady.
close for Bailey.
Great job by
Followed
Bailey
by-
to recognize that ball hung in the air a little bit, and when that happens, it allows
And
the
created a
defensive
third
backs to
down for
get
the
there because
Saskatchewan
Omar,
offense.
the receiver for Saskatchewan was wide open, and a little bit of a flutter there. Maybe the wind is affecting the passing here, as Saskatchewan will. Here we go with the punt kick option.
Immediately looked like she was going to do it. Has to make one move, ultimately trying to get that one. A little bit of a fan kick, and that one's going to be covered up by a Saskatchewan player last moment. And just tried to turn a negative play into
Schenner
something.
got her
But
foot on the
Manitoba with a nice defensive stop there.
Absolutely, and Manitoba will take over on
Manitoba
Saskatchewan's
possession.
side. Their best field position so far in this game.
And they will
we'll
take it
see
away.
how this offense does here. This is a time to turn it around. We got a little bit of time left in this third quarter. We've seen crazier stuff happen in football games with leads evaporating very, very quickly.
It's not quite making a mountain out of a molehill yet at this point, but if Manitoba wants to stay in this game, this is an important drive to ultimately try to at least keep yourself in contention.
Absolutely.
Snap, toss, going the other way. Saskatchewan beautifully reading that one. A massive loss of yards.
Absolutely. Once again, Drina Wren, we haven't said her name a whole heck of
Maya
a lot,
Watson
but her
from
speed
Manitoba
is
brought down
noticeable out of the defensive back
quickly
position.
by Drea
She
Wren,
snuffed
21,
that out as we
Saskatchewan.
have a new quarterback in for Manitoba, number 2, Brawwyn Trelivin, out of Swan, who plays quarterback for the Swan Valley Bengals.
Second
out
and a
of Swan
bunch for
River.
Manitoba here after
Trelivin
that tackle
coming
for a
in,
loss.
that toss going to Haywood. Just couldn't quite get anything extra on that one. Trelivin all alone in the backfield. Motions. Snapped, eventually goes to her. Looks like she's going to pass. Eventually just holds it up, picks it up, getting a first down and more. Or actually not gaining a first down. Getting past the original line of scrimmage, getting to the 40. So it's going to
Bronwyn
be
Trevelyan
third and
found the
2
open
or
lane
3
and
on that
exploited it.
particular play.
And then what a weird play, because
Third down
Treliving
and
was
4.
literally motioning to her receivers to do something, and her receiver threw up her hands. I think it was originally supposed to be a pass play. Good job by Treliving, just doing it herself and making this a third and manageable here.
Yeah, 3rd and 4 here on this play. They're living right there. Goes a little bit more to the pistol offense. Eventually gets the snap, looks back, tries to make that throw, and that one's intercepted going back the other way. It is Hayes making that one and going.
Morgan Hayes, terrific interception in traffic.
Morgan
And
Hayes out of
Saskatchewan takes the ball
Beyond
back.
just jumped that route. Good job reading the eyes of the quarterback, jumps it, and Saskatchewan just right when you think the doors open just a little bit for Manitoba, in comes Saskatchewan with a big play to absolutely shut it down.
Yeah, that is, again, after that last offensive drive, you don't want to allow your opponents to get any sort of momentum. But Skeeter back out there, going to have some motion. That one handed off, going right up the middle, a little bit of a hole.
Alex
and a nice
Demalanta
little run.
past the 50-yard line, more
We're
than half the
getting
distance.
Wicks with the big lead is getting a little bit of a break here for Saskatchewan, and a good opportunity for the running back Alex Demalanta to get in her first year in the tournament. Good experience for her, and once again she can for the rest of her life said, I carried the ball at U18 Nationals in Calgary, Alberta.
That one a little bit fumbled on the exchange. That one's just going to have to be taken up and moving forward. Skeeter, again, some of the longer snaps haven't been connecting as well as you would have wanted on the offense. Again, if you want to take a negative for Saskatchewan in this game, some of the snaps haven't been crystal and haven't been perfect. But again, if that's really the biggest negative that you've had on the offensive side of the ball today, you're going to be quite happy.
Absolutely. I think it's just Skeeter taking her eyes off the ball. She's reading the defense, trying to figure out what she's going to do. And also passing hasn't been Saskatchewan's strong suit. As a great tackle by number 31 for Manitoba. And that has been Sophia
31 Manitoba.
Fagerstrom Castro. She's been an absolute
Castro.
tackling machine out there for Manitoba.
Tackle for a
she
loss.
read
It's
that
second
one
and a
perfectly
dozen.
as Skeeter was rolling to her left. Again, we see this so often from the Saskatchewan offense, just rolling either side. Again, a lot of times when you see quarterbacks roll out, it's typically to their common side of where they throw, make it an easier pass, and so you have to worry about that. But Skeeter now back in the backfield, looking for the pass, throws this one deep in the hands of number 80, Polensky.
Great catch by Polensky, just keeping her eyes on the ball, a defender in her face.
Tyler
and a good
Patelski,
touch
where she
by
found that under the
Skeeter.
traffic.
We haven't seen that a whole heck of a
We'll
lot
never
in this
know up
game. We
here,
talked
but
about
she made
the
the
passing game
reception.
hasn't been a strong suit.
And it's third down
a great catch
and a
there
lot
to
less
make
than
this
it was.
third and
3.
manageable. And of course, Saskatchewan's offense is going to stay on the field and potentially maybe put this one away.
Yeah, Skeeter with a good-looking throw. We do have a Manitoba player down on the field. I believe that's number 67, Tanner. Number Tanner, again, has been a staple so far of that defensive line for this team and making life a little bit tricky for Skeeter when she's out there, able to get up under her own power.
I think she's cramping right now for sure. I
Yeah.
think she's suffering a cramp, and that happens when you're on the field so much as this defense. You needed a long, sustained drive in Saskatchewan's territory as the offense. And here's the thing. We could talk about Manitoba's offense all day. We could talk about Saskatchewan's defense. They're just making way more plays than Manitoba. They've been flying to the ball all afternoon.
Skeeter and gets it. She's going to elect to just run this one, gets past the defender, has a little bit of extra room for the first down on third and medium.
Easy pick up there for Skeeter, who just walks out of bounds, moved around the best tackler for Manitoba there. Just too much room there, and the fatigue, I think, is starting to play. You see hands on the hips right now for the defense for Manitoba, and what can you do? You've been on the field for over half the game.
I'm sure someone has the time of possession currently, but we don't have the actual current time of possession. But I'm assuming it would be quite.
Yes.
I'm assuming it would be at least 60-40 at this point in this game. But Skeeter picks this one up, fakes the toss, has all sorts of space, and she finds a little bit of a crease, breaks one tackle, breaks another, and gets dragged down at the last possible moment.
Schenner breaking through every tackle except the
maybe
last
a little
one.
bit of a horse
Big
collar,
first down
but
for Saskatchewan
no penalty
in
flags
green.
down on the
As the
field.
third quarter.
That was a hand holding onto a jersey and ripping it down.
Absolutely, and you know what? You got to give credit to Manitoba's defense.
We'll
They're
continue.
not giving up here. Like, Zelensky there could have literally just let her walk into the end zone, realize that she's tired. She kept on her in her back hip and makes the tackle, potentially saving a touchdown for now.
Skeeter gets it, a little bit of low snap, looking to pass, eventually get this one up, and gets it to her tight end, Polensky, and that's a score for a touchdown.
Great, once again, Polensky. We saw it in the first half. She had one bounce off her hands, and now she's made two really, really solid catches, as now Saskatchewan takes a huge, commanding lead at the end of the third. Expect Skeeter to come out of this game in the fourth quarter, as I saw a quarterback warming up for Saskatchewan, but great touch on the pass, rolling against her body, perfect spiral, great catch, touchdown Saskatchewan.
And the big thing with that play is putting it where Polensky could be the only person to go grab it. Because again, you often talk about quarterbacks trying to place a good ball, but you also need to talk about it where only their receiver can get it. And again, that's another situation.
Is
they don't
no good, so the score remains 34 for Team Saskatchewan.
They do allow
and that officially ends the third quarter. The teams will switch sides.
Yeah,
we'll play 12
there's
more
only
minutes.
been one throw that Skeeter's done where it was almost intercepted.
Here today
but
at
other than
Field.
that, she has placed
Ontario
the ball
will play Alberta
where there's nobody
at
open
7.
where her receivers might get to her.
Quebec
Of course, her percentage isn't the greatest so far today
Teams
in
will
terms
play
of
on
completion
Wednesday
percentage,
and then again
but she's
on
played
Saturday.
a very efficient passing game today as well.
Yeah, and you know what? You don't necessarily need to have the highest level of percentage, especially if what's working for the offense is using your legs to set up so many things, is consistently working. We are 34. We do need it to be 35-0 before we go to run time. So, yeah, if we had that extra point, we would be in that. But
absolutely,
Saskatchewan kicking the ball off
at the start of the fourth quarter.
This one going past Omar. She's eventually able to pick this one up, scanning the field, tries to make one move, runs into her own teammate there, and gets brought down right around the 32-yard line.
I've never seen a kickoff go for a spiral before.
Kickoff
that was actually impressive.
It was a solid kick, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Linebacker turn kicker. You don't see that every day.
It's always interesting at a lot of these levels because, again, with myself calling a bunch of CJFL games for the Calgary Colts, seeing sometimes, again, there's some teams that have dedicated punters, kickers, holders, snappers, and then there's some teams that it's just like, hey, you got the best leg on the team, so we might as well go out there and punt it from time to time as well.
You wear a lot of different hats in this level, that's for sure.
A quick wide receiver screen right there, trying to get through a couple of yards. I'm not sure if they ended up breaking anything much more than maybe just one or the line of scrimmage, but Travell doing a decent job
Randy
making
Haywood,
that throw.
number 3.
Once again, just the pursuit to the ball that Saskatchewan has. They have at all times 3 or 4 players in the vicinity, and that's just great teaching. That's just great teaching on defense by this defensive coordinator. See the ball, want the ball, attack the ball. Great job by Saskatchewan.
See ball, go get ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Travell all alone, cuts it up through the middle, and ends up getting that one to right around the 39-yard line. Again, seeing her a little bit similar to the way that we see Skeeter play the ball. Not afraid to throw it, but also not afraid to run with the ball at any possible opportunity. So it's going to be third and manageable here. And Manitoba at this stage of the game as we are in the fourth quarter.
Absolutely.
You have to go for it.
Yeah, you have to. Absolutely. You're playing 3-down territory from now until the clock hits 0.
Handoff. This one going to be able to get to the line to gain.
Some space on the near side, on the left side.
To be collected by Haywood.
And Randy Haywood knew that to go there. Gains the first down for Manitoba.
You're not necessarily in this prevent-style defense, but you're also still trying to play your defense consistently.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And that looked like it was going to be a lot more than what it was. Of course, great one run by Haywood, picks up the first down, keeps his drive alive, but good pursuit to the ball by Saskatchewan once again. 21 in the vicinity once again.
Working the pass, trying to get this one in and out of the hands. Just couldn't quite connect on that one. A little bit of a dangerous situation.
Make that reception on either end of the spectrum,
Saskatchewan player was there, but there happened to be two Manitoba players that were right in the vicinity to try to pick that one up.
Absolutely. When two receivers run the same route or in the same facility, you pull defenders into there. And, of course, as we know in football, that over-the-middle pass is the most dangerous where there's the most players. And luckily, that fell to the turf for Manitoba.
Velling all alone. That's a high snap, and that one goes backwards. She's going to have to collect, and she's just going to jump on top of that. It is going to be third and a nautical mile.
Forced to take
at
a team
this
loss.
point. Again, we've seen this through the tournament so far today from all the teams.
Back to the 21,
sometimes the snaps are getting a
22-yard
little
line.
bit errant. Again, we don't see many of these teams go under center very, very often, but you got to wonder if some of the snaps aren't going quite your way. Is it maybe better to go closer to a pistol offense as opposed to a shotgun, or just going simply under center?
Just looking at that replay, that's a long, long way to get that snap back there, and just a little bit too much air, and now Manitoba has to punt this ball away.
Good looking punt, James, right there, and that one goes out of bounds.
Terrific punts.
We'd like to thank some of our football sponsors: Football Canada, Football Alberta, the CBFA, SAFFL,
Just a reminder,
the
all of our
Calgary
fans here
Stampeders,
today
and
to stick
NFL
around
Canada.
after the game for our Player
Thank
of the
you
Game
to some of
awards.
our amazing sponsors: Hillback and Buck, Oculus Private Health, Liner Fetch Weddings, Sleek Signs, Tourism Calgary, the City of Calgary, the Make a Diff Sport Foundation, and the Government of Alberta. Those are all of our amazing sponsors. Just a reminder to all of our fans here today to stick around after the game for our players of the game.
I have a feeling I know who's going to be Saskatchewan's.
It feels like that one's going to be a fairly easy decision, but that one just goes right up the middle. A good looking
The lane
play
opened
there.
up for Alex Dimolanta.
As Hayden Ship is now into the game at quarterback.
She got significant
as
yardage on
another Manitoba player is
that
down.
rush.
Looks like she is cramping, clutching her. Hopefully it's just a cramp. She is clutching her knee, and that's not a good sign there.
Yeah, that is an awkward looking situation where the legs up in the air. That again, we don't play doctors up here in the broadcast booth, but again, Hayden Ship, the tight end / quarterback for this team, had a pass attempt go her way earlier in the game that didn't quite make its way to her, but with 8:26 still remaining, again, you can't call a game before the final whistle is blown, but at this point, you have to feel that Manitoba would have to pull out some sort of witchcraft and wizardry, going a little bit Hogwarts here to try to ultimately come back in this game. But you got to get this stop here and potentially even try to get a defensive touchdown.
Yeah, you need a turnover here for sure. And you know Saskatchewan's probably not going to put the ball in the air, so you got to do the old peanut punch. You got to punch that ball out and hopefully recover it.
Ship hands that one off. Kilamata able to gain a handful on that first down run, and it looks like we have another Manitoba player down on the ground. Again, when
straight ahead running,
your defense has just been out there all game long.
9 yards.
It is
ice baths.
Yeah, it is a tough one. Just hopefully it's nothing more than just cramps that we're seeing at this stage in the game. But
exactly, and it looked like players landed on her, and that's never a great feeling when you have 2 or 3 players landing on you. Hopefully she is okay. And we talked about this. Manitoba needs a good old-fashioned peanut punch recovery to get the offense back on if you want any shot. Because if Saskatchewan scores on this drive, we mentioned it goes to run time, and then the clock is definitely against you.
Yeah, we are at the stage of the game right now where it's not again, nothing's impossible in sports. We see crazy things happen all the time, but again, we talked about a little bit of that magic that's going to be needed. If you're at this stage for Manitoba, you might be thinking to yourself, we need to just put some good plays on film so that we can go back going into Wednesday going, this is what worked, this is what didn't work. We need to figure out why this didn't work, and if we can switch it up and also get some of the game film on whoever we're going to be playing down on Wednesday. Again, all of the games here today, we have 3. Check out the next matchup between Alberta and Ontario, which is likely going to be a great matchup. We have 3 games again on Wednesday, so make sure to tune in for that. And then next Saturday is when we are going to have all of our finals.
Yeah,
really.
Absolutely. Short little tournament here. Good job by the organizers to allow time for these teams to heal. Especially, we see today a lot of cramping, a lot of injuries. Allow these ladies to get hydrated, get some rest, because you hate to see people down on the field like this. This is nationals. This is something they've dreamed about definitely all summer, probably for the last couple of years from tryouts and stuff like that. And you just want everybody to have a good tournament. Good job by the organizers to space this out, give these teams to bond as well. One of my favorite things in tournaments.
Chip fakes the handoff, looks to throw the ball. That one almost picked off, but able to be collected by Poletsky.
Good job by Poletsky
by
using
Tyler
her body to
Patelski
shield
under
the
pressure to make
defender.
that
The
reception
defender was
and hold
trying to
on
reach
for a first
around to
down.
knock it, or like you said, if she stepped in front of it, she was gone. That would have been a pick 6. Good job by Poletsky to kind of shield her body there, and she's become a little...
Hayden Chip also putting that where only Polensky could get it, because if she would have put it a little bit higher in the air, that's almost where you get into the Randy Moss for a defender trying to take that ball up and over.
Exactly.
Chip with it, has some pressure going right towards it, able to get that one to her running back in the running back screen, has a little bit of space, breaking that one through was Wicks, getting so close to the end zone, but we have a 1st and goal.
Absolutely great play design there. The screen, the 6-man screen, you don't see that a whole heck of a lot. Good job not to panic by Ship, and she just
down to the 10-yard line.
Just rainbow passed it over top to a wide open Judd, and she makes no mistake and takes this into the red zone for Saskatchewan.
You are indeed correct. That is Madison Judd who ended up getting that one. Typically the defensive lineman, or at least that's what they have her position listed as here on our sheet, going out there doing a little bit of double duty. A Chip waiting for the official to blow it in. We're just really scanning the defense here at this point.
I think she's wasting time.
That would also be a really effective strategy. That one a little bit high. And that one going in. Can she find the back of the end zone? Breaking through one tackle. Just can't quite get there.
Some hard charging errors from Violanta.
Doing a good job at
consistently under pressure.
That one right up the middle.
Good job by Alorante coming into this game. She has over 50 yards rushing already, and once again, you could attribute that to Manitoba being a little bit more fatigued on defense, but the offensive line, like you see it in football, they don't get talked about enough, but see rock, block rock, right? We've been talking about all game. Good job by Saskatchewan, absolutely dominating the line of scrimmage here.
Hayden Chip. Villamante also in the backfield. Handed off to her. Met in the backfield but broke one tackle, but eventually stopped. So we're going to have a second.
Be pushed backwards.
Probably it's going to be a third and a loss of yardage on that defense play. With 5 and some change. 5 minutes and some change still remaining here in this 4th and final quarter. Again, great job by the defenders breaking through and slowing her up.
Good job not giving up. This is the positivity that you build on. You see this on film, say, look, ladies, the game didn't go our way, but look at the hustle here. This is what we can build on. We're a hustling team. We're a good tackling team. Just build some confidence here as the wind is now really starting to pick up.
Yeah, this is also the time for the coaching staff's also looking at it going like, we want to see you give it from the time the game starts to the end. As this one goes up in right to the back of the end zone, that's going to be a turnover on downs. Again, if you're Saskatchewan at this point, you're going to try to make that move. Again, you're so close to the back of the end zone, but what this also does is it forces Manitoba to be right on the shadow of their own goal line. And we haven't seen many sacks throughout this tournament. We only saw 1 sack in the game earlier today. I don't think we've seen a sack officially in this one. But again, applying a little bit of pressure here, and if you get the running back behind the line of scrimmage and can push her back, potentially try to get that
away
safety.
from Manitoba.
It's as good as a punt. You're up by 34 points. Do you need any more points? Not necessarily. Maybe to get run time to get out of here and go home and get a good meal in you. I totally get that, but it's as good as a punt. Like you said, shallow own goalpost, and the way that Saskatchewan's defense has been playing today, you never know.
A pass able to get to The big tight end able to break a couple and get out of the shadow of your own goal. And
Trevelyan finds 64. Addison Tursky
doing a good job. Again, she was one of those players that had a little bit of the cramping situation earlier in this game, so it's good to see her back out there. Someone gave her some Gatorade and electrolytes to, here you go.
Absolutely, and it just great positive play. Get out of your shadow of your own goalpost. That was really close to being sacked there. Saskatchewan was in the vicinity, and good job. Good play.
Yeah,
positively.
And getting a first down on that one as well. Again, it's not just like a quick, like, okay, we're a little bit close or farther away from it, but actually getting some first down and getting some movement. That's what you want to see. Another good-looking pass. That one just in and out of the hands. Can't quite connect on that situation.
Good job. They're doing a little bit of a run-pass option where they're doing a little bit of flat work for Manitoba, and that has definitely worked in this game when they do the passing game to the flats. And unfortunately, we just haven't seen a whole heck of a lot of it out of them. But if this is something that they could take into the next game, because she was wide open, could have ran for another 10 yards. And once again, just building positively, making some good tape for next game on Wednesday.
Handoff here, going the other way is Bowley, trying to find a little bit of a crease. Ends up gaining a bunch of the yardage, and we're going to have a first down.
Absolutely. Good job by Manitoba here. Good blocking, good running. A lot of good positivity on this drive. Let's see if they can punch it in. Let's see if we can add some good tape on there as the refs will reset the ball.
And you know what? Again, Manitoba unlikely to walk away with the victory here today, but if you can go down on this drive and you can score a touchdown and put some points up on the board, again, in the game earlier today, it was a shutout, and so you would love to not be the only team that got, you would love to be a team that doesn't get shut out on day one.
You're playing for pride right now, right? Absolutely. It's a good run here outside.
This is a nice little run by Haywood. Randy Haywood found a little bit of space and was able to ultimately break away with that one.
We got some laundry on the field, though.
That's probably why that play ultimately went that way. Maybe a little bit of holding, maybe a little bit of offside, maybe. 10-yard penalty is going to be the call on that one. But again, you got to take the positives where they are on that one. And unfortunately, that positive came with pretty bad negative, bringing you far back. So it's going to be 1st and 20 here with 2:47 still remaining in this one. Brendan and Chris here in the broadcast booth. And you know what? It's been a fairly fun game. Again, the score is one thing of what it is here for the moment, but you can see the level of compete here from Manitoba that really tells you that they're a good squad.
Absolutely. They got good bones. Couple of bad mistakes on offense today. A couple picks that were thrown. Good tackling team for sure as that pass goes for incomplete. A lot of good things to build on for a big important game on Wednesday.
Without a doubt. Again, just trying to find anything here. It's going to be 2nd and 20 here, so not too much in the playbook for most coaches for 2nd and 20. Again, we can't necessarily call the classic 4 verts that you know us gamers would love to just typically throw out for some of those particular plays. But you got to wonder, with some of these long yardage, are you going to potentially bring out the running back screen as pass goes up in the air, gets it to the O-lineman, Addison Tursky. Makes a good chunk of that yardage back, maybe getting just a little past the original line of scrimmage for a 12-yard gain.
Absolutely, and they're just basically it's the flat game once again.
10-yard
nice pass to the flats, easy completion, and then you just let your player go to work, and that's exactly what Manitoba did. Good job by number 64, breaking tackles, getting some of that chunk yardage back, and now it's 3rd and 10. Yeah, a little bit more manageable.
That handed off just right to the other side and continuing to go around. And she continued to fight and not quite, so that one's going to be stopped.
Number 3, Randy Haywood.
2:27 still remaining, and that is a turnover on downs. We were lucky enough to just be given
right after the game, folks, for the Player of the Game Awards.
Until the actual players go out there for after the handshake.
Yep, absolutely. Great job from all of these players out here today. Great just fantastic. This tournament, this whole organization. Shout out to the organizers that allow us to do this, what we love. It's a lot of fun up here. The great sponsors to allow this to happen, and it's going to be a good 3 days.
It is without a doubt, and a little bit of trickery there from Saskatchewan as they continue to look to add some good looking plays on
the near side.
Blaskovich with the rushing attempt there. Again, it was a little bit of back and forth between the two.
Yep.
Second and 8.
And one thing I want, watching this replay, after the tackle is made by Manitoba, she is absolutely met by number 8, just fired up for her teammates. That's stuff that you build on. Yeah, you're getting kind of ran out of the building, down by 34 points, but you're playing for pride. You're also, we have to remember, this is a game. We're here to have fun. Exactly. And that's exactly what's happening out there. That's good sportsmanship, good gamemanship all around.
Hayden Ship, she's just going to elect to run this one right up the middle, getting close to that first down marker, and she has it. Continuing to try to run this clock down throughout this game.
Tackled by 8,
not much you can really say from Saskatchewan in
No.
this one, other than they've just played a consistent brand of football from start
down
to
to the
finish.
25-yard
They
line.
played their
Gain of
game.
9.
They didn't allow Manitoba to dictate some of the pace going back into the second quarter, where it started to get a little bit closer.
Absolutely. And I'm going to be interested to see how this tournament progresses, how teams will play Saskatchewan's running game, because that is where they made the bulk of their yards today, and we saw it on that play. Their offensive line is fantastic, a very athletic quarterback in Skeeter, so we'll see what other teams will do to try to slow down this rushing attack for Saskatchewan.
Another rush
Straight
up
ahead
the middle for Hayden Ship. Not
83,
as
Daphne Amarowitz.
much room on that particular play, but again, when you're Manitoba, you kind of know it's either going to be a halfback draw or a quarterback draw right up the middle. And so with 96 seconds still remaining in this contest, Saskatchewan really just looking to close this one out.
Go to 1-0 and look for their potential opponents on Wednesday, whether it's Quebec, who won today, or the winner of Alberta and Ontario.
Straight ahead running, Alex
Delamante able to get enough yardage for the first down, or
with Sophie Zielinski.
Actually not quite enough. Very, very close. So it's going to be 3rd and inches on this last play. Again, Team Saskatchewan. Again, we saw Team Quebec pull out the tush-push play quite often.
Really?
Yeah,
Interesting.
they managed to actually score a 30-yard rushing touchdown off of it.
Off of the tush-push.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Now, again, it wasn't exactly, apples to oranges, but it was in, fairness, as this pass thrown, caught, moved in, continuing to go by, and another nice pickup
from Shep to Michaela Winters, number 16.
Winters picking up the ball
to the far end. It'll be
gaining a couple.
And this is a great opportunity for players who usually don't play a whole heck of a lot. That you're not a starter on the team, you're kind of a backup. This is good confidence builder for you too. Your parents are there seeing you catch passes. Just great all around for Saskatchewan, and I was actually quite surprised they put the ball in the air there.
Yeah, me as well. With it being 3rd and inches, you would expect a run right up the middle again, especially even if you're just doing 2 yards per rush on that type of situation. Again, that's sort of what you're looking at. I would be shocked to see Saskatchewan run a big play, and they don't, and that's just going to be a kneel down, and likely going to bring this one to the closing stages of this game. An absolute beauty for Team Saskatchewan, coming out and winning by a score of 34-0 over Team Manitoba. Chris, this was a really, really fun game to watch, and Team Saskatchewan showing how talented they are.
Absolutely. Team Saskatchewan is
going
to be a team to watch, especially with Ellis Skeeter behind the controls. This offense goes how she goes, and we'll see what, like I said, we'll see what teams will do, whether it's Quebec or the winner of Ontario and Alberta will do on Wednesday.
Just a reminder to everyone in attendance, you can meet up with today's participants
dynamo back there. Reminds me a lot of Lamar Jackson, a lot of run-pass options. But we got to talk about Saskatchewan's defense too. Their pursuit to the ball, their hustle was fantastic in this game. Gave Manitoba nothing offensively, and they're going to be a team to watch. And as for Manitoba, back to the drawing board. Huge game on Wednesday to try to keep your tournament alive.
Thanks to our
it's not
officials
necessarily
and
how you start
everybody
a tournament.
upstairs.
It's ultimately how you finish
good
a
effort.
tournament.
Thank you
And
so
again,
much.
day number 1 didn't go your way.
No.
But you were able to put some decent things up on film, and you went up against a very good team. Again,
To this volunteer
with
committee, they've been working
Skinner,
since January for this event.
we talked about it in the first
You see
quarter.
me winning the volunteer
That's a
shirt or
defensive
committee
coordinator
shirt.
nightmare
Yes.
right there,
Give them a
because
thumbs
you're
up
going,
and say
okay,
thank
well,
you,
she's
because
rolling
they've
out
been
to her
working
right.
very hard.
She has the opportunity to throw or run. She has done both. And then she starts rolling out to her left.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, she's just going to be running there because that's an awkward throw. And then she often did end up throwing on that side. So it makes it really, really difficult. Now, if you are Saskatchewan, you also got to look at that and say, okay, everyone already knows our massive weapon that we have here. What do we have to do to change things up for the rest of it?
Exactly. Do you go a little bit more pocket passing? Do you just rely on Ella Wicks, who was fantastic in this game, running the ball as well? Do you just allow her to run and you just bring out Skinner? We'll see what happens. This is going to be interesting going forward. The Green Machine, what's going to happen for them, as they're looking as like one of the top teams in this tournament.
As we get ready for our players
Now, fans,
of the
we
game,
can turn
reminder
your attention
that we
towards
do have
midfield
a
for today's Player of the Game
for both
Awards
the
presented by
offense and
Hilberg and
defensive
Burke
side of the ball
and
for both.
NFL Canada,
and again,
which
the
includes
awards
the most
have been
valuable
selected by the
offensive and defensive player for both
2025 Women's
teams.
Selection Committee,
The
and
awards have been
presenting
selected
the award
by the
is
2025
Ryan
Women's Selection
Bradford,
Committee,
President of
and presenting the
Football
awards today is
Alberta.
Brian Brantford, the
And
President
so-
of Football Alberta.
We will
Thank you,
announce
Brian.
them as they get going. Just
And
have
off
to
we
see
go.
which
The
team.
winner of the Most Valuable Defensive Player of the Game Award for Team Manitoba is
Team
number
Manitoba, the most
31, Sophia
valuable
Fagerstrom
defensive player.
Castro.
Again, it's not really going to be too much of a surprise. Sophia Fagerstrom Castro just made all sorts of plays all day long.
Tackling all over the field. She was all over the place. Consistent tackling. And when she got a hold of you, you're going down to the turf. You're not breaking that tackle at all. Congratulations to number 31. She
The
played
winner
a
of the
whale
Most
of a
Valuable
game.
Offensive Player of the
Without
Game
a
for
doubt, one of the
Manitoba
best
is
defenders on the field.
number
Now, taking a
64,
look at
Addison
Manitoba's
Tursky.
offensive MVP of the game, that is number 64, Addison Tursky, who again went out there making a handful of good catches and really was one of the engines that moved this offense.
Absolutely, and that's something you could build on going forward. The flat game with her on the
The winner of the
outside
Most
and
Valuable
allow her just to
Defensive
go
Player
to
of the
work,
Game
break
for
some
Saskatchewan
tackles, and
is
get
number
some chunk
3,
yardage like
Raina
we saw at the end of the
James.
game.
And she had an absolute massive smile on her face for that one. But the defensive player of the game for Saskatchewan was Rana James. Again, doing both punt return, kick return, and defender. Really, really good game for her.
All over the
And
ball.
the winner of
She
the
is
Most
going to
Valuable
be
Offensive
tired
Player of the
tonight.
Game
I
Award for
recommend
Team
the ice
Saskatchewan
bath
is
and
number
maybe
9,
a little bit of chicken
Ella
parm.
Shenher.
Great food. And offensively, you kind of saw this one coming.
Yeah, this is no surprise. Ella Skinner getting the MVP for offense, and likely
Thank
if
you all
had
for your
the
attendance
sole
here
MVP of the
today,
game,
for being
she would
loud
be
and
getting
proud
that
for
one.
your teams.
But that is it
We'll
for
see you
this
on Wednesday.
broadcast.
Just a reminder that we have
Brendan and
more
Chris
tournament
up
action
here.
coming up
Team
with our next
Saskatchewan
game
ultimately
between
ends
Ontario
up winning
and
by a
Alberta
score
at
of
7 o'clock.
34-0
Thanks to
over
both
Team
teams and both
Manitoba.
staffs
Don't go
for a
anywhere,
great
folks.
effort.
Here in about 45 minutes to an hour,
And we'll
we
see
will
you
have
fans down the road.
Ontario
Thank you very much.
versus Alberta for our next matchup. But for Chris, I'm Brendan saying thank you all very much for joining us here at the 2025 U18 Women's National Championship.